Hello. For the past 9 or 10 months, I've been over on Patreon, but I'm gonna try making the switch over to YouTube. So welcome. I am Lindsay of Hello Stella Fibres. The reason that I started doing Patreon was because I wanted to be able to share more about my creative journey and provide as much information as I could about what I was working on and why I was working on it, because I do get asked a lot of questions. So I'm hoping that this transition to YouTube goes smoothly, and I guess just bear with me while I figure out how to best, I guess, break these videos down. I see some people start with like their whips and then they go into their yarn acquisitions and then they, you know, will show off FOs. Maybe it's FOs first, I don't know. But this isn't just gonna be a YouTube channel about knitting or my yarn business. I'm a yarn dyer in Hamilton, Ontario. I have other creative passions. One is gardening, another is sewing. I also love to read. I am also very much finding my way back to art. I went to school for art, even elementary school, high school. No other subject stuck with me quite as much as visual arts did. So there'll be a little bit of everything here. And I guess I'll start with what I'm wearing. Not the cardigan, but the dress. I just finished sewing this. I love it. It's actually, the pattern is the Laurence Top, but I hacked it, so I went shorter on the top, and then I've added a 2-tier ruffled skirt, and I think it's very cute. It goes a little bit longer in the back, which is ideal. Especially, I am most often chasing after my 3-year-old and my 5-year-old. I have 2 boys, so I finished this last night. I technically could have finished it last week, but I didn't like how the bottom ruffle was sitting. It was too ruffled, so I ended up completely seam ripping it, and I serge all of my seams, so it was quite the process to seam rip it. But I finished it last night. I just have to go back and use my little seam ripper to take out my my guidelines for pulling the ruffle. In other sewing related news, maybe we'll just stick with sewing. I started this top. This was supposed to be a dress, but I didn't have enough yardage, so I made it a top. I really, really love this fabric. This is the blood orange checkered linen from Blackbird Fabrics, and this was another linen fabric that they had. I really, really loved this one. So this has like a nice warm brown base, and then it's got more of a like rust orange stripe, and then a sage green stripe, and then a white stripe. It is super pretty. All I have left to do are my buttons. And I'm not sure how I'm gonna do the buttons because there is a button guide for this. This is the Orchard Dress, same designer, I'll link it below. But the button guide, I don't know if you can see my marks or not, but essentially you put one button here and one button here, and then you have this gap and you put a button here and a button here. So it's like 2 and 2 with this like gap in the middle. So I guess you're technically, you can like button these 2 up, and then this would like kind of flop forward like a collar. So I'll most likely do that, but I am really, really proud of myself. I don't typically care too much about pattern matching, but I did pattern match, so the sage green stripe goes across evenly on both sides, which I've never successfully done before. And then the buttons that I'm going to be using are these ones. I believe these ones are called Tobacco. The color is Tobacco, and they are by Merchant and Mills. I splurged. My local fabric shop, Needlework, here in Hamilton, they just got in a whole shipment of buttons, so I kind of went crazy because I don't have any, and now I've got a little stash. So the button will be a little bit darker, not a whole lot darker, but I think it'll look really, really nice. And I'm just gonna go in and edit my ISO 1 second. Okay, I think that's better. So I'll show the fabric again because I think it was a little too blown out before. This is much better. So now you can see the striping in that plaid, and then with the buttons, I think it's gonna look really pretty. So all I have left to do are buttons. I have actually never done buttons on my machine. Last year I bought a new machine, and the name is totally escaping me right now, but I had done them on my previous machine, which was a Singer. I always do practice first, so like on a scrap piece of fabric, and it just was not working last night, but it was like, you know, almost midnight, so I'll try again now that it's daytime. But yeah, so back to the buttons. I did go like crazy, but the packaging is actually really cute. I don't know if it's gonna blow out or maybe not, I don't know. But the colors are just so pretty on these buttons. So in this one, this is tan, and this one's brick. And these are 20 millimeter, and they're made from hemp. And I just feel like they're so beautiful and so simple that they're gonna go with lots of things. The ones that I'm using on the pattern that I just sewed are the Tobacco, and I love these ones. These are French blue. I think that is so beautiful. And those are also 20 millimeter and hemp. And then these ones are made from cotton. They're 15 millimeters. I have to remember which one is which. I think this one is knapsack. It's like a green. There. And then this one is Admiral Blue, which is really pretty. So those ones are made of cotton. And then these next ones are Corriedale. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I got 15 millimeter and 25 millimeter. The 20 millimeter I'm using for a knit project that I'm actually working on. Here's a good example. So they look like wood, but it's like man-made. I don't know if you can see that green in there. So that's the 25 millimeter one, and then that's like the little one. So they're much darker, but 3 different materials, so it's a lot to play with. And it's just nice to have a little bit of a stash of buttons, because I had some like resin buttons that I had bought from a maker in Australia, but my taste has kind of changed. So yeah, and then continuing with fabrics, I do have some new fabric acquisitions. I bought this one a while ago, but I was cut the wrong fabric, so I went in and had it exchanged. So it's got this lovely texture to it and these checks. So I'm pretty confident that I'm gonna make myself like a all-well box top. It's one of my favorite go-to garments for really any time, but I really like it with the sleeves. It's a nice layering piece for fall and winter. I have one that I did with a linen that I threw, like I just throw it over a dress most of the time, or wear it with high-waisted pants. But this is a Merchant and Mills fabric. This is my first Merchant and Mills fabric. I've never had this one, any of their fabrics before, because it is a bit of a special treat. So I want to use it, but I need to be smart about the pattern that I make with it. And then my fabric shop does end of bolt bundles. So this is a linen. It's a lightweight yarn dyed stripe. It's a pencil stripe, and it's the colorway Latte. So again, it'll probably become a box top, or maybe I'll make it into a dress if I have enough. I've got 1.5 meters. So usually that's enough for a box top with long sleeves. But yeah, just a nice neutral. And then I also got this Umbria linen in a light gray stripe. And this is 1.2 meters. So I'm being very honest with myself this year about colors. I started watching a lot of YouTube podcasts last fall, and I was watching Inga from Knitting Traditions, and she's down in Norway, and I just thought, you know what? I love how she knows her colors, she knows her palette, and she sticks to it, and she doesn't really deviate away from it. So, you know, if she likes brown, she's gonna knit herself as many brown sweaters as she wants. And if you've been around and following me for a little bit, back in 2019, I think I knit like 19 sweaters that year. I only wear one of them. And it's like my fun sweater. So I don't know why, but I had this mentality that if I knit a sweater or a garment, and let's say I knit it in like a rust color, I can never knit another garment in that color again. And I don't know why I did that, but that was just what I kept telling myself. And then I saw Inga's podcast, and I was like, why did I think that I couldn't knit more than one thing in the color that I like? And I looked at my wardrobe, and I really I purged. I did a deep dive on everything that I own. So I'm being very true to the colors that I'm drawn to and what I wear and what I'm comfortable wearing, and what I feel best in. So a lot of the fabrics that I've been buying this year are neutrals. And then things that I'm knitting, I'll add a little bit more pop of color in my knitting, and then I can kind of like pair them together. Like you can see, like this outfit right now is very me. So it's been kind of nice exploring this new mentality when it comes to the clothes that I'm making for myself. But back to fabric, I also really like to quilt, and I want to get back to quilting again probably like end of summer. I already have one cut for Van, but he's in a little bit of this phase right now where he just likes to destroy everything. So I'm almost hesitant to sew him something just to have him destroy it, but I'll probably just do it anyways. So I bought this quilting kit or fabric bundle. Is it blown out? But it is just a lot of neutrals. So this is eggshell. Let me fix the lighting. Okay, that's better. So this is Bella Solid in eggshell. So it's just like an off-white. And then the quilt kit has some purples, some off-white neutrals. The script was kind of fun. Some tan, some brown, this pretty little floral, and then some blues and some greens. So I thought it was a really nice quilt kit or fabric bundle. It's from Stacked Fabric, which is out in, now I'm all blown out. How do I get this to cooperate? There we go. So yeah, Stacked Fabric is out in Calgary, I believe. I've bought from her before. Her stuff's great. She curates these kits and then they sell it really fast. So I ended up buying 2 more from her that I'm planning to. I never really keep them as the kit that she's curated. I kind of pick and pull what I like. So I'm planning to mix some of the fabrics from this one with some of the fabrics from the other 2 that I just purchased. And then hopefully I'll have this really pretty patchwork quilt. So that's everything in fabric and my sewing whips, and I guess my sewing FOs. It's kind of nice to have something finished. And then in, I wonder if I should just go right into, I'm gonna go into gardening. So I shared this over on Instagram a while ago, but I bought this book called Discovering Dahlias by Florette. It is such an amazing book. If you are at all interested in planting dahlias and growing dahlias, I would 100% recommend investing in this book. It just came out this year, but she breaks it down by color of dahlia. She gives you the names of all of the dahlias. She tells you how to plant your tubers, or if you're planting from seed, how to store tubers when you dig them up in the fall. All of it. Everything is here. Everything that you need to know about dahlias is in this book. And I reach for this almost every day because I haven't really talked about it on Instagram, but I planted a lot of dahlias. I think I planted, I think between 25 and 30 tubers. And I did that because they say to always overplant because some won't take, but everything has taken, so I'm gonna have a lot of dahlias, but that's okay. I'm really excited about it. And then I just this week picked up her other book, which is called Cut Flower Garden, and this breaks it down into other flowers. So I went dahlia crazy this year, but next year I want to still have dahlias, but I want to have other flowers. So I know that I want to have sunflowers. I already have cosmos in my garden, but I want to plant more cosmos. And I really, really want to do zinnias. If you follow her on YouTube, or not YouTube, Instagram, she is currently breeding her own zinnias, and they are so beautiful. There's one called Precious Metals, and I'm obsessed. Like, even my mom, I think it might be sick of me talking about it, So yeah, I would highly recommend this. And I'll try and shoot some garden footage so that you can see what my gardens are looking like right now. But yes, I probably spend about an hour outside in the gardens every day, kind of deadheading and going through and cleaning. And then I also just like to check on the progress of everything and see it. So that is gardening, which kind of segues into my art because I'm drawing a lot of inspiration from gardening. I actually have a new print acquisition. One of my favorite artists is, you probably know her. I have no idea if I'm ever saying her name right, so I really, really apologize. Laura Pemberton. This one is called February Gardener, and I loved it because of all of the seed packets, but my birthday is also in February, so thought it was really appropriate. So I still have to get a frame for this. Fortunately, IKEA is like sold out of everything right now, so there's like nothing that we want. Like we always go to it, well, we don't always go to IKEA, but like if we shop online, the stuff that we have our eyes on or we're saving up for is just always out of stock. So that's my new print. I have a bunch of her prints. I'm a little bit obsessed, and it kind of, again, is gardening related. So everything kind of just translates back to one of my other hobbies. But I brought some of my current projects. So like I've really been working on my line drawings. And so this is one. It doesn't have any shading at all. It's just a really rough line drawing. There's some daisies, like these little guys here are daisies. These are more like cone flowers. This is seeded eucalyptus. So the next step with this is to do the shading, which I do with a fine liner, which kind of, it will hopefully eventually look a little bit something like this. So I did the shading with the fine liner, and then I've kind of gone in and done a really rough watercolor, and it's like really rough. I'm not sure how much I love it. I do think it's really pretty, but I think there's room for growth. And then like this is one, I've been working on this one for, well, I haven't worked on it this past week, but I probably have about like 4 hours of painting in on this one. Violets. I can't remember what I was even drawing. Or pansies. I think they're pansies. But yeah, you can see the different stages. Like this is the first layer. This one's first layer. This is second layer, and this is the third layer of paint. Obviously no leaves yet or anything like that, but that is an example of some of my art. And I did, I got brave enough that I ordered, these ones are just really cheap because I want to try it first, but I need to get some ink. But I bought an entire set of tips with the pens. They do come out. Of course, that one's like super stuck in, but they come out, so they're all interchangeable, which is interesting because I don't know why I needed, like I don't know why they sent, yeah, there we go. So they come right out. So I could get new tips if I really needed to. But yeah, I've only tried it with white ink because I actually don't have any black ink. But that's my next step, is to try these, which makes me nervous because I tried doing calligraphy way back in the day, and yeah, let's just say it's not my strongest suit. Not that I'm doing calligraphy with this, but the whole like thin and thick and applying pressure and stuff like that to get different thickness in line. So I'm gonna play with it and see what comes of it. But that is everything art related right now. And now to the yarn. I don't have any yarn acquisitions. I've actually been really good this year. I haven't been buying a lot of yarn. I did buy a 3-month yarn club. Melanie from Big Little Yarn Co. She used to be in the US and now she's in Japan. She's doing a Studio Ghibli yarn club, and she's offering it on non-superwash, which makes me so happy. I've made a full and complete change over to non-superwash yarn because I just love knitting with it so much more than superwash. The final outcome of everything that I have knit with non-superwash yarn has just been far greater than anything I could have imagined, and I'm actually wearing my whips. So that is the only thing that I've ordered, and it's a 3-month, so I think it was for July, August, September. So it'll ship in September, but it has to, I guess because of the pandemic, you can't, I guess Canada is not receiving packages from Japan. I don't know, but so we figured out a way that I can still get the club. So I'm having it rerouted to a friend in the US who will then ship it to me. It's a whole thing, but I couldn't say no, and then it'll just be a nice surprise come this fall. But in terms of whips, I've been working on my first design. I am using, I just actually today launched my Corriedale yarn. This is the color Sedum. It's a dream to work with. So I knit this, or I am knitting this. I've just cast it off the body this week, and now it's time for sleeves. But this is going to hopefully come out this fall. Not sure yet, fall or winter, we'll see. And yeah, I'm obsessed with it. The yardage with this yarn is so generous. So I'm only 2 skeins in, and this is what I have left of the 2 skeins that I started with. So that's, I guess, like technically maybe 1 full skein plus the color work. The color work could obviously be done with just 1 color carried through, but I did 2. So the main color is Sedum, and the contrast here is Dune, and then this is Natural, so like undyed Corriedale. I love it so much. So I don't know, maybe I'll start working on the sleeves today, who knows? My husband, Nick, he was, the other night I started something new, and he was like, you shouldn't be working on that, you should really be working on your design. So now the seed is planted and the guilt is eating away at me, but so that is Sedum. And then the other whip that I'm going to show you is the one that I started, which also uses my Corriedale. And this is the color Hemlock. This is a little out of my normal, but I absolutely, the second I dyed it and then I saw it rinsed and dried, I was like, yeah, I need to knit something with it. And I'm knitting a cardigan, so I think that it's gonna just go so nicely with all of these linen pieces that I'm sewing up for myself. Like even this is gonna look really nice. The whip is called the Field Day Cardigan by Hailey of Ozetta. It's really not much to look at right now. It's just like a wedge. But I'm about to start working on the front part, I guess. It's really interesting construction, way out of my comfort zone. But my friend test knit it, so she's kind of helping me through. And the buttons that I'm going to be using for this are those dark 25mm Corozzo, I don't know if I'm saying it right, buttons. So it'll be dark on dark, which I think is just going to look so nice. And it's just a really nice, simple, oversized cardigan. So I think that, you know, eventually down the road, one of my kids could wear it. I have 2 boys, so I really, really am happy with it. Once I get everything joined, like the front part done, the shoulders and down the front, and start the shaping, I will do helix knitting. That's what I did for the bottom body of this, is I helix knit it. So it just, I don't know. I feel like it also makes it go faster, but this is worked back and forth. So I'll essentially have to work like 2 rows with one color, and then 2 rows with the next color, and then 2 rows, and so on and so on. But yeah, I'm really, really happy with this. So it just doesn't look like very much right now, but hopefully, like there you can see the shaping. Yeah, so it's literally just a wedge, but this is the back here, and this is the upper neck part. So it looks essentially like this right now, but obviously for my back. But yeah, that's everything that I'm currently working on. In regards to shop news, I'm gonna have one more update this month. I've got a pattern coming out. It's my Petal Pop socks. They're super cute. I probably should have had one with me to show you, but I've shared them on Instagram. They're basically a vanilla sock, but there's this really cute detail on the ribbing. It's just super pretty. They look like petals. So look for that this month, and then to correspond with the release of the socks, I'm going to also have a shop update with some sock sets that were inspired by some really pretty blooms that a florist I follow shared, which I also shared on Instagram, but I'll share it again. But yeah, I hope that this was an okay first video for YouTube. I am toying with the idea of uploading all of my previous Patreon videos to my channel. So if that is something that you would be interested in, you can let me know in the comment section below. They date back to, I think, September or October of last year. So it would be like, you know, going back in time. But you would get to see a little bit more of the process of how I got to the Corriedale. You can also see some of the older whips that I was working on and things that I've completed since then. But yeah, you can let me know. I'm like not sure if that's a weird thing to just suddenly have like a whole slew of videos from last year and earlier this year randomly show up on YouTube or not. I mean, they're already on YouTube, but you know what I mean. So yeah, hopefully this was good. I kind of had a few moments to do this while Nick was out taking pictures of the boys. So you can let me know if there's anything more you would like to see. From time to time, I do kind of sneak down to the dye studio and show you a little bit more of what's going on behind the scenes. And I'll probably go take a walk through the garden right now so you can see all of the colors in the garden, things that are thriving. The squirrels keep eating my daisies. So yeah, I'm excited to start this next little journey, and hopefully you guys are excited too. I wish you the best day, and I hope that the next week or a few days or whatever are really great for you as well. And hopefully I'll be back soon with a new video. Thanks. Bye.